What's going on, my broskies? My name is Toadski, back again here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video, and today we're here to talk about the new Kizuna Clash that's going to be arriving here on One Piece Treasure Cruise versus Brook. Now remember, this is a Kizuna Clash that does involve a super boss. In this video, we're not going to be talking about the super boss specifically, we're just going to be talking about the regular bosses, so the 10-star difficulty. But do note that, those super bosses are going to be very, very important to take down, so make sure to be prepared for it. Before we jump into it though, I want to just talk about the new Brook character. This is the character that we're all farming for. Remember, you need to get to box 7 and clear it multiple times to get the skulls to super evolve him. Alternatively, you complete all of the missions on top of also reaching box 7 for the Kizuna Clash. But as for what Brook does, he's a Dex / a Free Spirit, providing a 4x boost to those classes with a 1.2 health boost. However, he boosts their attack by 4.25 when they have a recovery or a tandem slot, which is not the best because sometimes you want to use Wano slots, sometimes you want to have matching slots, so sometimes it can be kind of annoying. It also gives 10% damage reduction and then makes the recovery and tandem slots beneficial to Slasher and Free Spirit characters. In terms of free-to-play, it's not a bad captain, I'll say. Not terrible. And then the special ability, 13 turns, reduces bind and attack down by 6, which is incredible for a free-to-play unit, changes his own slot into tandem, and then changes adjacent slots into recovery, allows you to freely swap those slots 2 times, and makes it easier to land perfects for 3 turns. And then it will also boost base character's attack by 750, so it boosts the crew's base attack by 750, and then if you land 3 perfects during the turn, you get a 1000 base attack boost to the crew at the next turn. Okay, this is actually a pretty decent free-to-play special, like definitely more utility-centric rather than giving you a bunch of boosts. But that's fine. In terms of utility, this is great, and this is definitely going to see play. He's / a Free Spirit, so he has great classes that synergize well with a lot of other characters. He's a Brook character, so he can activate the super class of, like, Zoro, for example, the new Anniversary Zoro. So overall, I think that this is a pretty solid unit. He does also have Hunger for a free-to-play unit, which is also very good, and he also makes recovery and tandem slots both beneficial to Slash and Free Spirit. That is really, really good. Support effect, Dex Slasher allows you to freely swap your slots 2 times at the start of the final battle. That is actually really good. I really like that support effect. There aren't too many characters that do this, and the fact that he does do that is pretty good. I think this is going to see a lot of play, actually. And then his Rumble stuff, let's have a quick look. Slashers get 6 attack, Dex get 4 HP, and 31 CT, large horizontal range for damage over time. Slashers get speed 7, and 3 quick enemies are hit with paralysis, 100% chance. Not going to be used in Pirate Rumble, that's for sure, but at least he has a relatively good set of normal skills. So actually getting into the breakdown of each of these little boss fights here, we're first going to have a look at the 10-star Dex boss. Now, I don't know if this is going to be the first boss that appears, so do keep in mind that this is going to be versus the Dex boss. And for Battle 1, there's going to be cooldown to Fighter, Free Spirit, and Slashers, so you got to be building around that, which is no real surprise considering the characters that have been releasing recently. Battle 2, you're going to deal with 5 turns of damage reduction. This is why we have Okiku on the team here, for this team here. Her special removes the percent damage reduction, as well as provides an orb boost to the crew, which is actually pretty solid. And then on the final boss stage, there is full immunity, so you can't really apply conditional boost unless if you have a certain character that can ignore that. They will randomly change your slots into a random type slot, and then make type slots badly matching for 5 turns. Obviously, really, really bad. They also inflict you with 5 turns of attack down, and there is damage nullification. And then after level 30, the attack down will become 6 turns, and the damage nullification will become 2 turns. So, quite obviously, the character that you want to be using is going to be Kinemon Denjiro, Ashura Doji, Dogstorm, because their special allows you to remove damage nullification, as well as providing a full board of matching slots and giving you a 3 times attack boost. But more importantly as well, their super class special allowing you to give a full board of Wano, essentially a full board of Wano. The middle row will get tandem slots. But also, the fact that their captain ability removes 10 turns of attack down, so you can completely ignore the attack down, you can ignore the unfavorable slots, you can get rid of the damage nullification with their special. So realistically, Kinemon Denjiro, the K-Dad specifically, they pretty much deal with everything on the final boss fight versus the Dex fight. so you want to be using that as a friend captain. Now, as for this team example, this is a quote-unquote accessible team because Odin is the captain. If you're relatively new to the game, Odin is actually given to you for free, and I'm sure many people that have been playing for a while will probably have Odin. If you don't have Odin, you can replace him with any kind of other strength captain or slasher, ideally a strength slasher captain that is just a really solid unit. Like someone that at least gives a 4 times boost would be awesome. But also, if you don't have that, you probably want someone that provides an orb boost to your crew. On my team here, you see I have Kinemon as a sub as well. He just allows us to get a little bit more matching slots. There's literally no reason why he's here. Lucci's pretty good because he does give us a color affinity boost, and then Law gives us a chain boost. But of course, a lot of these characters are interchangeable because of the fact that K-Dad specifically deal with everything on the final boss fight. So as long as you deal with something with Battle 2 with the Rainbow Shield, the rest of the team is open season. You can really do whatever you want. So shifting gears a little bit, still looking at the 10-star difficulty versus Dex, this is another team that you could potentially go ahead and adopt, which is using very similar characters, Odin with K-Dad, but also using K-Dad sub because they're going to be boosted. We have Okiku, which deals with the Rainbow Shield on Battle 2, and I mean, realistically, we probably have enough damage to just kill the boss through Battle 2 without even having to use Okiku special, which means that we can save it for the final stage to get the chain boost, which is pretty good. Then we also have the Usopp and Yasop because they do get cooldown here. They will allow us to get the conditional boost and base attack boost. The Hancock, Nami, Robin character giving us a huge color affinity boost to our free spirit characters. 2.75 is ridiculous. Of course, use Odin special first, then K-Dad special to get the buffed orb and attack boost. We have the Wano slots and the tandem slots. This team will do absurd amounts of damage, especially when you got to consider as well that there is a final tap of K-Dad that will add additional damage on top. So yeah, this is going to be doing a lot of damage. K-Dad deals with most of it, which makes things very, very easy. Alright, so having a look at the second fight now versus Quick. Battle 1, there's going to be Free Spirit, Slasher, and Powerhouse receiving cooldown. Battle 2, there is 5 turns of attack down. And then on the boss stage, there is an immunity to only poison and delay, so you can apply a defense down conditional boost if you do so wish. Another thing is that any type slots that you have will become super block slots. Obviously, not very good. Then there's also 5 turns of Rainbow Shield, and then after level 30, there is, well, it's not Rainbow Shield, sorry, it is Threshold. Damage reduction over a certain amount, it's damage threshold. And after level 30, it becomes 6 turns of damage threshold, but they also apply 5 turns of Blue Shield, 5 turns of defense up. So that's annoying. Man, so having a look at this quote-unquote accessible team, now this team is really weird. So in terms of Battle 2, we have to deal with the attack down, which is why we have this Toki, which came out around the time that Hiyori and Ulti came out. This character allows us to remove the attack down, which is pretty solid. Also gives us a color affinity boost, so hopefully it's not a strength boss on the mini boss, that would suck. But then on the final boss stage, well, specifically as well, because on the final boss stage, because the fact that they change all your type slots into super block, we have to get around that. We have to get tandem slots, we have to lock them. So the way around that is I'm going to be using the special ability of this Sabo on top of the special of this Sober Mask. So by using those two specials, they both change adjacent slots into tandem, so we have a full board of tandem slots. And one thing I actually forgot to do that I was going to do is I was going to have the support of this Jinbei. This Jinbei, he will go ahead and lock the slots of all your free spirit characters for 1 turn if you launch the character special. So because we use Toki to remove the attack down, all of our slots are locked. We use the special of the Sober Mask and the Sabo to get a full board of the tandem, and then we can keep it for the final boss stage, which is great. Of course, using Zora as the friend captain to remove the threshold on the last stage, using his super class to get a really good attack boost. We have Onami and Robin, which are only there for an orb boost. That's literally the only reason why they're here, so they can be switched out for literally any other Dex orb boost that's a free spirit or a slasher. And then Luffy is the captain because we needed to remove the defense up, and luckily you can still apply a defense down conditional boost. So that's why I'm using Luffy, because he's a free-to-play unit that does remove the defense down. He just, applies 100% defense down for 1 turn. So he's a solid option. He's not the best option, but it is an option nonetheless. This team should still do a pretty good amount of damage, realistically, but probably not the most optimal team, but of course it is just an accessible team. So looking at another team that's obviously more pay-to-win focused, we have Zora as our captain with the friend K-Dad. Now, one of the things, of course, is we need to get those full board of slots and, like, keep them for when we reach Battle 3. So the way that I'm getting around that is I was just going to use K-Dad with his super class, but of course we do just have Hiyori as well. So realistically, this team, you could just use double Zoro. You don't actually need to use K-Dad. But of course, if you do use K-Dad, you get access to their final tap, which is pretty good. But for a normal 10-star boss, you probably don't need it unless if you're going like all the way to like level 70s, 80s plus. So if you're not doing that, then you probably don't need to worry about final tap shenanigans and stuff like that. But, you know, pretty straightforward once again. In terms of removing the attack down, we have the K-Dad as the captain to also do that. So if we're not doing that, our team does have to shuffle around a little bit. But K-Dad captain does deal with the attack down, which is pretty solid. And then of course we have the full board of slots through Hiyori and or using the K-Dad special and stuff. But also the threshold is removed by Zoro. The defense up is removed by Killer. Killer is also an orb booster. Law is a color affinity booster. We have an attack boost with K-Dad or Zoro's superclass. We also have the Usopp and Yasop, which can provide us with the conditional boost and the base attack boost, which is just incredible. Like, this unit is going to see a lot of play in Kizuna clashes just for so much additional damage moving forward. So this is going to do a lot of damage. Probably not going to be the team that I'm exactly going to use, but it is a good team nonetheless. Alright, so now looking at the final boss versus the 10-star strength boss. Strength Dex quick, receive cooldown here, so it's a pretty straightforward fight in terms of that. But then on Battle 2, you have to deal with 5 turns of damage threshold. And on the boss stage, there is poison and defense down immunity, so if you have a delayed effect, you can apply a delayed conditional boost, which is good. There is also the ability of a block slot given to your crew. There's 5 turns of attack down, 5 turns of resilience, but after level 30, it'll be 6 turns of attack down, 6 turns of resilience. And one thing to note is that after level 30, you're also inflicted with hunger. So that's pretty annoying because I was actually having a look at it. There is no free-to-play quick unit that has hunger removal, at least from what I saw. So that's kind of crazy. It means that you do have to potentially use a friend captain or go through other means to remove the hunger. Now, the way that I'm applying that here is by using Shiki as the captain, because after it's all said and done, after you activate all your specials, you would use Shiki, and then Shiki gives you a full board of recovery slots, and as long as you consume 2 of them, you can get past the hungry mechanic. Of course, because you have Shiki, you also have Hina. Hina here is really strong because her special ability not only provides you with great utility in removing 6 turns of attack down, but it also will be a reduced redundancy kind of special where if you already have an orb boost, you'll get an attack boost instead. She also applies like a base attack boost to the crew too. So what you'd do here is you'd activate all your specials, you'd use Shiki, and then last would be Hina. And that's the way that you would get around all of the gimmicks here. One thing to note though is that some people may say, how is this the accessible team using the World Journey Crocodile? World Journey Crocodile isn't really needed, but you do need a unit that is boosted on the team that can get rid of the 5 turns of threshold. You could use the quick Kuzan from the Sengoku batch. You could use Sanji Pudding, whether it's Legend Sanji Pudding or the Rare Recruit Sanji Pudding. Both of them can work in this scenario, so both of them will work instead of Crocodile to remove the damage threshold on Battle 2. The block slots, of course, are removed by Shiki. We also have attack down by Hina. The resilience, we have Perospero to do that. He does end of turn damage for 3 turns, also 3 turns of a 2.75 chain lock, so we can actually use Perospero on Battle 2 to give us a bit of additional damage in order to help us get through that stage a little bit more efficiently. And then we have the Kuja Pirates, which are only here to provide us with a conditional boost. So realistically, you want to use Kuja Pirates last. So you want to go probably Croc and Perospero on Battle 2. You want to use Hyogoro first, then Shiki, then Hina, and then you want to use the Kuja Pirates just to ensure you get the attack boost of Hina rather than the attack boost of the Kuja Pirates. But of course, you do want to use Kuja Pirates nonetheless because they do give you a delayed conditional boost, so that's pretty nice because you can apply a delayed effect. Realistically as well, you could use the superclass special of Hina first, which does allow you to get a 2 times conditional boost. I believe it's a 2 times conditional boost. I completely forgot that she actually had that, just remembered it now. Doubles damage against delayed enemies for 2 turns. Yeah, so what you could do is you could actually just replace Kuja Pirates with anyone that applies a delay. Like, it literally doesn't matter, because that'll give you a free conditional boost that's a lot better than the Kuja Pirates effect. There you go, just improve the team on the fly. This should be okay. It's not the most efficient team out there, but it is accessible nonetheless. And then looking at a different team here versus the strength fight, this one you can really be like kind of flexible with, because like there's a lot of different units you could potentially use. Like there's not like a shoehorn like one unit does deal with everything here. There's a lot of different units that you could use. So this one's just kind of playing around, being a little bit funky, as we're using super class Katakuri, a character that really never really sees a lot of play. So in terms of removing the threshold, we have the Beppo character, removes 5 turns of threshold, which is pretty cool. We can also use a super class special of Katakuri to give us additional stats and stuff like that for that stage. You could use a support on Beppo as well if you wanted to, just depends on what you want to do. But then on the final boss stage, we can actually go ahead and use the super class special of Katakuri to change all block slots into matching. Realistically, you could use Cracker to do that as well. Now, in terms of removing 6 turns of attack down, this is what Smoothie is for. Smoothie removes 6 turns of attack down, and further states that if we have a Powerhouse Captain, we get a 2.5 chain boundary, which is pretty nice because that stacks well with Cracker, giving us a huge chain boost and also color affinity boost. And then our 2 Katakuris, one does an attack boost, one does an orb boost with reduced redundancy. We have a full board of slots, so we have attack boost, orb boost, chain boundary. We remove all the gimmicks. There is the resilience we have to deal with though, which is what the free-to-play Kaido is for. You'd probably want to use his special last. He's not really that useful for the team. He does just do the end of turn damage, which is why he's here. If there was a support you could put on the team, that would be good. The original team I was thinking of was just by using the blue Kaido, the super type Kaido, because he does 2 times increased damage taken to the enemy, and that will work on this stage. But then I forgot that I had to deal with the resilience, so unfortunately you have to do that. Yeah, because you can't use a poison effect to do that. So yeah, it is a little bit of a shame, but it is what it is. So this is a little bit of a funky team, probably not the most optimal team out there, and it does deal with the hunger as well, because Katakuri and also Smoothie both have hunger removal, so you know it's pretty easy to get around that hunger mechanic, honestly. But overall, not the most efficient team, but it's a fun team nonetheless. So with all that being said, that is going to wrap up this video in terms of talking about preparation for the upcoming Kizuna Clash. And of course, when the Kizuna does officially drop, we'll bring videos talking about it a little bit more, going through the bosses with a few different teams as well, making it a bit more efficient. Maybe hopefully figuring out a one team versus all, but I think that's going to be pretty difficult this time around. We'll have to wait and see how things progress. Nonetheless though, hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and if you guys did enjoy the video, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But on that guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.